My name is Vimal Keerthi. I am 4th BTech student, CSC branch, PVP Siddharthalo. So, first I'll present my screen. I'll tell you how to download Visual Studio Code. So, Google you can like download VS Code. Visual Studio Code ni short form lo VS Code antamu. VS Code download ani if you search, you'll have the first link. అందులోకి వెళ్ళి మీ ల్యాప్టాప్ స్పెసిఫికేషన్స్ ని బట్టి యూ హ్యావ్ టు ఇన్స్టాల్ ద వర్జన్. ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసుకున్నాక యూ హ్యావ్ టు జస్ట్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ ఇట్. నా ల్యాప్టాప్ లో ఆల్రెడీ ఇన్స్టాల్ అయిపోయి ఉంది. సో ఇన్స్టాలేషన్ స్టెప్స్ అన్ని దే ఆర్ వెరీ ఈజీ. నెక్స్ట్ 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 అని కొట్టుకుంటూ వెళ్ళిపోవడమే, యూ విల్ గెట్ ఇట్ డన్. ఆఫ్టర్ దాట్ ఏంటంటే యూ కెన్ జస్ట్ ఓపెన్. Yeah, mine is already completed. I completed my installation, so I'm not installing it again. ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఎలా చేయొచ్చు అంటే యూ కెన్ జస్ట్ క్రియేట్ అ ఫోల్డర్ లైక్ దిస్. యూ కెన్ జస్ట్ క్రియేట్ అ ఫోల్డర్. న్యూలోకి వెళ్తే యూ హ్యావ్ దిస్ ఫోల్డర్, యూ హ్యావ్ సిఎస్ఎస్ అని మీరు చేసి క్రియేట్ చేసి యూ కెన్ జస్ట్ ఓపెన్ ద కమాండ్ ప్రాంప్ట్. చిన్న కమాండ్ ఉంటుంది, కోడ్ స్పేస్ డాట్ అని. సో దాన్ని మీరు ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తే కమాండ్ ప్రాంప్ట్ లో యూ విల్ గెట్ దిస్ హోల్ ఫోల్డర్ ఓపెన్ ఇన్ విజువల్ స్టూడియో కోడ్. సో యా, ఇలా ఓపెన్ అవుతుంది. విజువల్ స్టూడియో కోడ్ మీరు ఫస్ట్ ఇన్స్టాలేషన్ మీకు టఫ్ గా అనిపించినా కానీ ఒకసారి యూట్యూబ్ వీడియోస్ ఆర్ అలా కొంచెం చూడండి. దట్ విల్ బి వెరీ ఈజీ ఫర్ యూ. ఎందుకంటే మీరు HTML కాబట్టి ఓకే, కానీ సిఎస్ఎస్ తర్వాత జావా స్క్రిప్ట్ తర్వాత హై ఎండ్ అప్లికేషన్స్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు ఇట్ విల్ బి వెరీ ఈజీ ఫర్ యూ ఇఫ్ యూ యూస్ విజువల్ స్టూడియో కోడ్. సో విజువల్ స్టూడియో కోడ్, దిస్ ఇస్ హౌ ఇట్ లుక్స్. మీ ఒక బేసిక్ index.html ఫైల్ క్రియేట్ చేసుకున్నాక if you want to generate, you can generate a default HTML code. నిన్న సార్ క్లాస్ లో చెప్పినట్టు లైక్ డాక్ టైప్ and all that kind of things, no need to write them. You can just type an exclamatory mark and enter it. You'll get this default code. ఈ default code ni boiler plate అంటాము. So you'll get this boiler plate code. In this, like you have the same syntax like yesterday what sir told. The doc type, it is okay if you don't write it also. The basic structure is it will start from HTML tags. In the HTML tags you'll have head tag. In head tag you'll have this title. All these meta tags are like about the information about the web pages. Ante the characters it used, or here there is a lang. It says that we are using English language in our HTML documents. So ఇదంతా మీకు అవసరం లేదు. But still, if you want to know, you can just Google them and know. So as exclamatory mark, if you like enter it, you'll be getting this default code, HTML code. Nothing but it saves time. Visual Studio Code కూడా ఎందుకు వాడమంటానంటే it will save your time so much. అయితే ఎందుకంటే you will have suggestions also. Like if you type P, you will have this drop down, you'll have suggestions. If you press enter, you'll get both the tags, the opening tag and the closing tag. And just there is another thing called as lorem ipsum. It is used for generating some dummy text. Lorem and type చేసి enter కొట్టగానే you'll have this so much dummy text here, and alt shift plus F కొట్టగానే it will format the whole document. Okay, are you following? Alt plus shift plus F, it will format the document. Okay. So it is about Visual Studio Code. ఇంకొకటి ఏంటంటే what will you do after just writing a basic HTML file? What do you do to see the result? Result ఎక్కడ కనిపిస్తుంది? Hello. ఓకే. రిజల్ట్ ఎక్కడ కనిపిస్తుందంటే there is no like yesterday like sir said there is nothing like compiler or interpreter or assembler for compiling the code that you write in HTML. All the code that you write in HTML will be displayed in the web in the browser. So browser is the main place where all your HTML code gets displayed. సో అట్లాగా వాట్ యూ డూ ఇస్ నార్మల్ హెచ్టిఎంఎల్ ఫైల్ని మీరు క్రియేట్ చేశారనుకోండి. సరే ఐ హ్యావ్ దిస్ హెచ్టిఎంఎల్ ఫైల్, ఇది మీరు క్రియేట్ చేశారనుకోండి. దాని మీద మీరు రైట్ క్లిక్ చేసి ఓపెన్ విత్ కొట్టి గూగుల్ క్రోమో ఫైర్ ఫాక్సో అని పెట్టి దెన్ యూ విల్ ఓపెన్ ఇట్ రైట్. అండ్ తర్వాత సరే మీరు ఫైల్ ఓపెన్ చేసి నాకు ఈ కోడ్ అంతా వద్దు అని డిలీట్ చేసేసి మీరు సేవ్ చేశాక ఇట్ ఈస్ స్టిల్ దేర్. అప్పుడు మీరు ఏం చేస్తారు, చేంజెస్ రిఫ్లెక్ట్ అవ్వాలంటే యూ విల్ బి రిఫ్రెషింగ్ ద పేజ్. సో రిఫ్రెష్ చేసినప్పుడు ఆల్ ది కంటెంట్ గెట్స్ మోడిఫైడ్. సో ఇదంతా ఇప్పుడు ఇనిషియల్ స్టేజెస్ లో ఇట్ మైట్ బి సో ఈజీ ఫర్ యూ, కానీ మీరు ఎక్కువ లైన్స్ ఆఫ్ కోడ్ రాస్తున్నప్పుడు అగైన్ ఫర్ ఎవ్రీ మైన్యూట్ చేంజ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ వెరీ like odd అనిపిస్తుంది. Every time you have to go to the web page, you have to refresh it. So for that you have an extension in Visual Studio Code called as live server. లైవ్ సర్వర్ అనేది ఎక్స్టెన్షన్ ఏం చేస్తుంది అంటే, మీరు ఇక్కడ దీన్ని ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసుకున్నాక ఐ ఆల్రెడీ ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసుకున్నాక you will get an option like go live. దాని మీద మీరు క్లిక్ చేస్తే ఒక లోకల్ సర్వర్ అనేది క్రియేట్ అయిపోతుంది. యూ కెన్ లైక్ సీ ద చేంజెస్. ఇప్పుడు నేను పక్కన పెట్టి చూపిస్తా. సీ ఇఫ్ యూ లైక్ రైట్ సంథింగ్ హియర్ అండ్ ఇఫ్ యూ సేవ్ ద ఫైల్, ద చేంజెస్ ఆర్ ఆటోమేటికలీ రిఫ్లెక్టింగ్ ఓవర్ హియర్. యు ఆర్ నాట్ రిఫ్రెషింగ్ ద పేజ్ రైట్. అర్థమవుతుందా? సమ్వన్ రెస్పాండ్. సో ఇక్కడ నేను మళ్ళీ ఆ డమీ టెక్స్ట్ తీసేసి Vimal Keerthi and పెడితే see the changes are reflecting. You're not refreshing the page, you're not again going here reflecting the pages, but the thing is you have to save the content. Control S. If you don't save the content and if you just go on refreshing the page, the changes will not reflect. You have to save. Then the command Control S. Save చేస్తే then the changes will get reflected. So is this seeming easy or is it seeming tough? Previously you have to refresh the whole page, but now you are just installing a simple extension and then you are just like using a simple shortcut you are saving the file and the changes are getting reflected. This is only a small advantage of Visual Studio Code. There are numerous extensions in Visual Studio Code which makes your development life very very easy. So that is why I'm recommending you to use Visual Studio Code. So meanwhile మీరు ఇప్పుడు క్లాస్ వింటున్నప్పుడు meanwhile you can just go to the web and download Visual Studio Code. I want by the end of this class all of you have to install it. And live server, I'll tell you once again how to install it. So ikkada the first option is Explorer. It shows all the files in your folder. Manam CSS folder lo work chestunam and in that we have index.html file. It is being displayed here. And the next is you have search. If you want to search any words in your files, not only HTML files, if you want to search anything, like I want to search document. See, it is there here. It is reflecting that it found a word called document. The next is this is not needed for you, and this is also not needed. This is extensions. Extensions are those like they're small application kind of things. They'll make your work very easier if you install them. And we have so many extensions. Like you have themes also. You have material theme. We'll have so many things like that. అంటే ఈ థీమ్ ఉంది కదండి, దాన్ని you can change it. Material icon theme, themes, all these things, atom material theme. So you can change the themes. You have this live server which is very useful for you. And other extensions, I'll tell you about them while we are coding these things, coding CSS. Okay, so this is all the introduction part about how to use, how to download. First, we saw how to download Visual Studio Code, and then I explained you like how to create a boilerplate, that is default code, HTML code, and then how to install live server, how to run live server, and you have these commands also. Let me take this away. You have commands to like call the live server. Okay, so let me Google it. I think I forgot the command. Command to live server. Yep. So you'll have this command. You can just go to command palette or Control Shift P. Command palette will get open and open with live server. This is okay. Yes. So just ఏమవుతుందంటే, I did not tell you this. There is something called as settings here, and in that you have command palette. A command palette lo you can do any operation. Like if you want to create a new document, if you want to create a new file or HTML file, if you type create file in HTML, you'll get this. You'll get, like, you can do anything from the command palette. And then if you want to open live server, you can just type live server. You'll be getting suggestions, and you can like call your live server. But easy thing is here you will get this option called go live, and if you click on it, your server will be created, and on that your content will be displayed. Okay, enough of Visual Studio Code. Now let's get back into CSS. So basic HTML things also, we are done with it. This is our basic HTML document. So let me remove all this. I'll write from scratch. HTML below, you'll have head, right? In head, what will you write? Title. Let's write CSS. After this, you have something called as body, right? In body, you'll be writing all the stuff. Let me make it as lorem. Lorem, if you type lorem, some default text will be, like dummy text will be appearing with some number of words, some default number of words and paragraphs. So if you want, if you know the number of words that you want to like generate, if you place 23 here, 23 words will be coming. If you want, you can count it. Yes. If you want more content, like if you want so much 200 kind of thing, see here, it is showing the content. And if you press enter, all that content will be displaying here. So ila you can generate dummy text. This is for experimenting. Dummy text can be used for experimenting in the content when you are like creating websites newly from scratch, and content అనేది you will not be knowing ఏ కంటెంట్ ని ప్లేస్ చేయాలి. అలాంటప్పుడు స్ట్రక్చర్ ని క్రియేట్ చేసుకోవడానికి దిస్ dummy text will be very useful. Content ని పేస్ట్ చేసుకోకుండా, if you want to create the whole website, afterwards later on you can add the content. So ఇలాగా lorem epsilon you can use it. Lorem, the command is lorem, and any number, if you know the specific number, then you can type it 45 or 67 or 100, like that. So this is about HTML and VS Code in HTML. So let's get into CSS. CSS అంటే it is like styling your web pages. It is used for styling your web pages. Basically, normal ఇంతకు ముందు ఎలా ఉండేదంటే, in the initial stages of web development, it is all HTML. Everything is HTML, and websites kuda they were built using only HTML. సో అలాగా ఏమయ్యేదంటే చాలా రాగా, అంటే చాలా they are not like interactive or responsive or good looking also. So what happened is, after some, like, they introduced something called as CSS. HTML lo kuda we have styling, we have basic styling, but it is not up to the mark. అంటే మన వెబ్సైట్ ని చాలా బ్యూటిఫుల్ గా చూపించేలాగా it is not like that. So CSS, they introduced CSS. CSS means cascading style sheets, because it is also like a language which is used for styling HTML pages or XML pages. XML, I think it is a new word for you. Let's leave it. We are only talking about HTML kabatti. CSS is a language which is used for styling HTML pages. Like, you have this Google, right? This Google is also a HTML page, because if you want to see the code behind it, because like this Google, the logo, the search bar, the card over here, add shortcut card, Gmail, images, these are links. Gmail is a link, images is a link. This is also like a drop down kind of thing. This is also a drop down kind of thing. If you want to see the code behind it, you just right click on the page, and if you see inspect, you can see, like, you can access different elements in it. ఇలా కాకుండా, if you want to see the whole code, you can just right click, and if you say view page source, see, this is HTML page, right? You have this doc type HTML, you have the whole structure that a HTML page has. It starts with HTML tag and ends with a closing tag of HTML. You have a body. In that body, you have links, and you have something called a script tag. This is JavaScript that you can leave it for now. You have a frame. You have a style tag where the whole CSS is written, right? So this is how everything in the web is a web page, and it is made of HTML. HTML ఎలా అంటే, for any website or for any web page, there are three things. The first is HTML, the second is CSS, the third is JavaScript. So ఏంటంటే, the first is CSS, first is HTML అని చెప్పా కదా. It is like skeleton. So for making any website, you need to have some structure, right? మీరు wireframes తీసుకుంటారు. Like, wireframes అంటే how the structure has to look అని చెప్పి you will be drawing some pictures, right, on your paper మీద కొన్ని ఫోన్ లాగా ఫ్రేమ్స్ లాగా గీసుకొని, ఆర్ ల్యాప్టాప్ స్క్రీన్స్ గీసుకొని, here there should be home link, there should be about link, there should be contact link, అలా రాసుకుంటారు కదా. those drawings are called as wireframes. So ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే, HTML is like skeleton. The whole structure of the web page will be made using HTML. సో మీరు ఆ వెబ్సైట్ ని ఓన్లీ HTML తో చేసి మీరు హోస్ట్ చేస్తా అంటే ఇట్స్ ఓకే, ఇట్స్ టోటలీ ఫైన్. యువర్ వెబ్సైట్ విల్ వర్క్ ప్రాపర్లీ, people will be accessing your website if it is needed. Everything goes good. కానీ ఏంటంటే, your websites with basic HTML, they will not be looking good. So if you want to buy something in a store, మీరు వెళ్ళి అవి కొనుక్కొని వచ్చారు కదండి, అవి చూడడానికి బాగుంటేనే కొనుక్కుంటారు. And also it should have some use. So CSS ఎలా అంటే, this like other the muzzle of the muzzle over the skeleton, the blood flow and all those things. The nervous system అని చెప్పచ్చు కావాలంటే. So muscular thing in the body. So HTML is like a skeleton, CSS is like the muscular structure, the muzzle, it gives a structure, like extra structure to your body. CSS is like that. The JavaScript. So now if you open any website, there should be some kind of interactivity. ఇప్పుడు మీ క్లాస్ చెప్తున్నాను, ఇప్పుడు మన క్లాస్ ఎలా ఉందంటే HTML ప్లస్ సమ్ అమౌంట్ ఆఫ్ CSS లా ఉంది చెప్పాలంటే. సో JavaScript ఏంటంటే, ఇట్ మేక్స్ ద హోల్ వెబ్ పేజ్ వెరీ ఇంటరాక్టివ్. ఎలా అంటే, it gives life to your web page. It is like a brain to your to the body, to a human. So it all, if you combine all these three things only, your website will look very interactive, very good looking, and also more people will be accessing your website. So ala anamata, JavaScript is like your brain. It will tell you, it'll operate everything. It will make interactive so that your website looks very 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 user friendly. So idanamata, I'm commenting this. సో అదండి సిఎస్ఎస్ ఎందుకంటే టు లైక్ గివ్ యూ సమ్ అమౌంట్ ఆఫ్ స్టైలింగ్ టు యువర్ వెబ్ పేజ్. స్టైలింగ్ అనేది వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో ఇప్పుడు ఇది కూడా గూగుల్ కూడా దిస్ ఇస్ అ సింపుల్ వెబ్ పేజ్. ఈ నార్మల్ గా ఇది హెచ్టిఎంఎల్ పేజ్ స్టైల్ చేసినప్పుడు దిస్ గూగుల్ విల్ బి హియర్, దిస్ సర్చ్ బార్ విల్ బి హియర్, దిస్ కార్డ్ విల్ బి హియర్. అలా వదిలేస్తే బాగోదు కదా. సో వాట్ దే డిడ్ ఇస్ దే అప్లైడ్ సమ్ అమౌంట్ ఆఫ్ సిఎస్ఎస్. దే అప్లైడ్ ది సిఎస్ఎస్ and they made all these things place center these links on the right side. So illa anamata, now it is looking very good. So what css is very very important. ఏంటంటే now let's get into css fully. I'm starting it. So css is cascading style sheets. It is a language used for styling html pages. So there are two important reasons for using CSS. Two important reasons. The first thing is highlighting important points in the page. Yeah, it is used for highlighting the important points in the page. See, if you have the same styling for the whole page, it is similar to an HTML page without having any styling, right? If you have the same styling, మీ హెడ్డింగ్ ఒకేలా, మీ హెడ్డింగ్, మీ కంటెంట్, మీ సైడ్ హెడ్డింగ్స్, మీ ఇమేజెస్, మీ వీడియో క్లిప్స్ ఏదైతే మీరు మీ వెబ్సైట్ లో పెడుతున్నారో, if all of them have the same styling, it won't it look good, but the people will not be understanding the difference between they'll not be understanding what is the heading, what is the subheading, what is the content. Ala. So it is CSS. The first important thing is it is used for highlighting the important points. Like if you go to the website, like me PloughIT website ke veldam. PloughIT website lo, so you know, like this is PloughIT is a title, and you know we aspire your growth is a subheading, and you're getting to, you're understanding it ela, because they are being highlighted. In PloughIT kuda, if they have the heading and the side heading, if they have the same styling as of the content, you'll not be understanding, right? You'll feel that it is also part of the content. So for that, for distinguishing different parts in your web page, like highlighting the important points. And మీరు చూస్తే కొన్ని వెబ్సైట్స్ లో the important points are highlighted using some highlighting for the sentences like this. I selected here, కానీ కొన్ని వెబ్సైట్స్ లో there will be some other color like yellow color, or మీరు మీ టెక్స్ట్ బుక్స్ లో ఇంపార్టెంట్ పాయింట్స్ ని హైలైటర్ ఒక రేడియం కలర్ హైలైటర్ తీసుకొని you'll highlight it, right? It is the same way. The important points you can highlight also. The first thing is highlighting, right? Highlighting, guys. It is used for highlighting important points in your page and distinguish different sections in your page. And the next thing is normal to make your websites good looking. These are the two main things why CSS is being used widely in your web pages. So this is the intro about CSS, and now let's get into let me open this PPT. Yep. Yes. Skinning. What is meant by skinning? It is nothing but changing the look of a page or your site. Like what I've said is, if you add so many styles into your web page, it will make the web page look good. So the appearance of the web page will be enhanced by using these style sheets. Style sheets are nothing but css files that we use, that we write CSS. So here yes, wait. Okay. These are basic, like I'll tell you all these things afterwards. So CSS. Now we know something about CSS. Let us learn how to apply it. You will have, let us use a paragraph tag, and let me generate some dummy text. So now if you run this, if you open a live server, see the styling is default, right? The styling is default. So for any HTML page, there will be some default styling, like the font size, the spacing between letters, the spacing between lines, the font color, and all such kind of things. There will be a default styling for every HTML page, and maximum in all times the default styling would be same. So this is a default styling. Now if you want to like change the style, if you want to change the color of the text, see your see whenever you write this color attribute, it is being displayed right here, all the colors. If you say blue, it is C. When I save this file, the changes are being reflected. So the color is changed. If you want to background color, let's see if it works. Pink. See, the background color for this content, for this element, will be changed. Initially it is white, right? Now it is pink. In that way, this is called as, like, if you want to write any style, if you want to write any CSS rule. So everything is a rule in CSS. I'll tell you about that also. Everything in CSS is a rule. So if you want to apply CSS, you have to use a style attribute. Yesterday, sir told you about attributes, right? Style is also an attribute. In style attribute, you'll have many properties. You'll have color. You'll have you can do many things. You can add color. You can use background color. Background color. You can like tell the font size. You can align the text. Align the text in whichever way you want. Like you can align it center, you can align it left, you can align it right. Like that, you have so many properties. So here what I did is I wanted to like give the style only to this particular element, this P element. So I wrote it here in the opening tag itself. So if you write some style in the tag itself, then it is called as inline. It is called as inline. If you write the style in the element itself, it is called as inline. For that, what you do, you use a style attribute, and the syntax is like this: property value, property to value to. So in this way, it will be working. And all these properties and values should be separated using a semicolon. So this is about inline. If you want to like give the styling in the tags itself, then you have to use inline styling. The next is you have internal CSS. Internal CSS. You saw it right now. You saw this internal CSS right now. Where did you see it? This is Google, right? If you view the page source, see. This is the internal CSS. If you write the styling in the head section, if you write the styling in the head section, then it is called as internal CSS. It's very easy. Why are we writing? Why are we writing in the head section? That is a question. Like there will be there will be some common styles in your web page, right? See here in your PloughIT website, there is a common styling. That is, some of the elements are given green color. Some of the elements are given green color, right? So if you use inline CSS, then what you have to do for all those elements, you have to write the whole style tag. Give it green, color green. You have to copy the style inline CSS, and you have to paste it in all the elements that you want to be green, right? So this is inline CSS. You saw it right now. If you go to this simple Google page and if you view the source, you have the style tag in your head tag, right? This is called as inline CSS. Enduku ante I told you the example. In your PloughIT website, you have this is see everything in a HTML web page or an HTML page. Everything that you write is an element. Element ante see, this is the code, right? Your HTML tag, the whole thing is an element. The head tag is an element. The style is an element. The style tag is an element. And the frame that you wrote here is an element. The script is an element. Everything is an element. Everything, even the web page itself is an element. Did you understand? So in this code, okay, let me say. See, in this is a simple HTML file, right? What did I say you, that everything in an HTML file is an element, right? So let us count the number of elements. From the basic. So this p tag is an element. This p tag with the content is an element. If you just write a p tag, even that is also an element. So now you have, let's remove this. You have first element. Second element is the body, the whole body. Third element is the title. Fourth element is the head. And fifth element is the whole HTML content that you wrote in your HTML file. So this is, how many elements did we have? First piece, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, right? So we have 5 elements in our HTML file. So everything that you write in a HTML file is an element. So back to the concept. We in this PloughIT website, here we found that there are repetition of styles. When you have repetition of styles, you can globally declare the style in your style tag. Like here, what it is being done. The body is given global style here. Like this is applied instead of body, like it is. Let me show you an example. See here, there is another p tag with I'll change the text with hi, hello. These are the two style tags. Let me remove this. Right? Let me remove this inline. So these are two p tags. So if you wanted to apply some style to your p tags, all the p tags, you have thousands of p tags in your. Let me copy this. Control C. Control V. Okay. You have so many p tags, right? If you want to apply some style to your p tags, previously, if you know only the inline CSS, what you have to do? You just have to write the style tag, style attribute in all these p tags. So that is a very it is not difficult, but it is very lengthy process. So to make your like the process simpler, you can use internal CSS. Internal CSS you can like write using style tag. You have something called as style tag, in which you can write the CSS rules. The rules are nothing but the props and the values that you write are the rules. So for the rules, let me go back here. I'll show you in the PPT. Yes. So yeah. So in the rules, what we'll be writing many rules in CSS. I showed you in the Google page source, right? There are in the style tag you have body, and you have some properties and values over there. In the same way, in any CSS rule, there will be three parts. The first part is selector. Selector here, see here it is written what HTML sections does it affect. That is, to what elements do you want to apply the CSS, or to all the elements. Those elements you will be specifying in the selector part. So if you now in our example we want to apply CSS to the p tags, the content in the p tags. So our selector would be p. The next is property. Property means what attribute of that HTML section would be affected. That is like what property do you want to add it. So here in our example, we want to add some color, we want to add some font, we want to give some font size, we want to give some background color. So those are the properties. And the value means like you've given some property, there should be some value to that property, right? You want to give some color, what color do you want to give? That is called as value. You want to like give some font size, how much size do you want to give? That is a value. So these three things are the main parts of a CSS rule. You can also call them a CSS statement. So if you combine these three, you will complete your CSS rule, and that style also will be applied to your HTML page. So let us write a simple CSS rule. So we are applying the styling to our p tags, right? So p, our selector is p, and then we are opening the rule. We are writing the rule. We are starting to write the rule. What should we write? We should write the property name. Property name is color, maybe color. Which color do you want? Let me make it red. If you save it, see all the p tags, all the content in your p tags is changed into red color. You are just writing 2 lines of code. If you exclude these braces, you are just writing 2 lines of code in your style tag. Is that better, or the writing the inline CSS to all the p tags? See here there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 p tags in your program. So if you do not use internal CSS, you would have to write 12 lines extra in your program to apply this style. So this is the like use of internal CSS, and this internal CSS is only will only be applied to the page in which it is written. Like this, if you create any other HTML page, let's say it is home.html, and in that you've created something, and there is some p tag. There is some p tag, and if you all of you know this a tag, right? Anchor tag. Let me write an anchor tag. Let me see if it works or not. Home.html. So there is a link over here, and there is a p tag in home also. See, I wrote the styling I wrote this internal CSS in index.html for p tags, right? And the p tags turned to be red following the CSS rule. And if you navigate to home.html, even this content is written in p tag, but the styling is not being applied. Why is it so? Because the styling is internal CSS and the internal CSS scope is only within the web page, within the specific web page. So your index.html is a separate page, your home.html is a separate page. So the internal CSS that you write in index.html will not be applied to the elements in home.html. Did you understand? The internal CSS will not be affecting the CSS of the styling of another page. That is one point. Now, the next is external CSS, right? So instead of writing style tags in your page, you can you can create some other page. Let's say style.css, and you can just write the tags here. Blue, let us make it blue. And after creating such kind of pages, styling pages, I think we can comment this. Comment it. And then you can use a link tag. And then you can include the CSS file like this. href is the reference, like where is the path, like that. The reference attribute. You should just give the link of the CSS file. And so now you have included the CSS file, and you have the styling for P, and you wrote the rule for P tag. It should be in blue color. Let's see if it is being applied or not. Let's go back. Yes. So here the file is created, like the file is being included in index.html for P tag, and the changes are also being reflected. Previously it was red, now it is blue. Now if you navigate to hello, even this is a P tag, but the changes are not being reflected in home.html. Why? Because there is you not include the CSS file here, right? So if you want the same styling, even in home.html, then you can just include the file, and you can make use of the rules in the same file. So I think you would have understood the like use of external CSS. The use of external CSS is that if you want to use same rules, same CSS rules, and if you want to have the same styling for any number of web pages, for like more than one web page, if you want to use the same style, then you can create an external file, CSS file, and then using the link tag, you can include those CSS files and make use of those stylings. So this is about internals, like inline, internal, and external CSS. So we have discussed about internal CSS and external CSS too, right? So let us discuss the scope of these CSS. The scope of inline is the element scope. Like the style which you declared using inline CSS will be applied only to the particular element in which you declared the CSS. But whereas coming to internal CSS, it is the scope is the web page or the HTML file in which the internal CSS is being written. The next is external CSS. The scope of external CSS is all files in which CSS file is included. So this is the scope of the different types of CSS. Like you can write CSS in 3 types. The first is inline, internal, and the next is external. So this is all about 3 kinds of writing CSS in your web page. Where am I? Okay. So the internal CSS will not be affecting the CSS of the styling of another page. That is one point. Now, the next is external CSS, right? So instead of writing style tags in your page, you can actually you can create some other page. Let's say style.css, and you can just write the tags here. Blue. Let us make it blue. And after creating such kind of pages, styling pages, I think we can comment this. Comment it. And then you can use a link tag. And then you can include the CSS file like this. Href is the reference, like what is the, where is the path, like that. The reference attribute. You should just give the link of the CSS file. And so now you have included the CSS file, and you have the styling for P, and you wrote the rule for P tag. It should be in blue color. Let's see if it is being applied or not. Let's go back. Yes. So here the file is created, like the file is being included in index.html for P tag, and the changes are also being reflected. Previously it was red, now it is blue. Now if you navigate to hello, even this is a P tag, but the changes are not being reflected in home.html. Why? Because there is no, you not include the CSS file here, right? So if you want the same styling, even in home.html, then you can just include the file, and you can make use of the rules in the same file. So I think you would have understood the like use of external CSS. The use of external CSS is that if you want to use same rules, same CSS rules, and if you want to have the same styling for any number of web pages, for like more than one web page, if you want to use the same style, then you can create an external file, CSS file, and then using the link tag, you can include those CSS files and make use of those stylings. So this is about internals, like inline, internal, and external CSS. So we have discussed about internal CSS and external CSS too, right? So let us discuss the scope of these CSS. The scope of inline is the element scope. Like the style which you declared using inline CSS will be applied only to the particular element in which you declared the CSS. But whereas coming to internal CSS, it is the scope is the web page or the HTML file in which the internal CSS is being written. The next is external CSS. The scope of external CSS is all files in which CSS file is included. So this is the scope of the different types of CSS. Like you can write CSS in three types. The first is inline, internal, and the next is external. So this is all about three kinds of writing CSS in your web page. So next thing is someone asked me a doubt. I don't remember her name. Like Lakshmi something. Lakshmi Durga. Yeah. She asked me a doubt. If you want to like you have internal CSS, it is applying for all the P, it is being applied for all the P tags. But what if I want different styles for two different P tags, right? Your doubt is that. So there is something called as priority in the CSS. There is something called as priority in CSS. Like the first priority will be given to inline. The next priority will be given to internal. The next priority will be given to external CSS. So let me show you a demo for this. See here. Yeah, now all the p tags are in blue color, right? Suppose I want to make the color of one of the p tags into some pink. Let it be pink. It is not being visible. Let us make it as red. Okay. Yes, because the priority for inline CSS is more than internal CSS and external CSS. So if you have this styling for the same tag in both inline and internal, the inline style will be applied. So that is the like demonstration for your doubt, Lakshmi Durga. It is all about priority. Like if you want to have different styles for the common elements, but there are some other like properties also to be same. Then for those different properties, for those distinguishing properties, you can just write the inline CSS and you can make them different. Let me add some other. Let me give some font for this. Is it changing? Oh yeah, the font family has changed. But have you observed the color property for the first element is only being changed, not the font family? Now what is happening here? Because you've written color property here, the color property is being overwritten. Like you have the same color, you have the same property declared in both external and the internal. But the thing is, it is being overwritten. The inline property is like dominating the other two styles. Even if you write, let me change. I'll show you the priority between internal and external also. Let me change the color of p tag here. Let me make it as green. Right? Yes. Now what is happening? You have this inline style, and in that you have this property color and you have the value green, and also you have the external CSS, in that you have blue. But what is being applied? If you have inline CSS for color, that value is being reflected here, and for all the remaining p tags, because the priority is more for internal than external, green color is being applied. Right? Did you get the point? Yeah, this is all about priorities. The first priority is for inline CSS, the next is for internal, the next is for external CSS. And one thing is that if you like just remove this link tag here and paste it here, then someone guess me the color of the remaining p tags. Like which color would you get? Whether it is blue or whether it is green. Anyone? Okay. The color would be blue. Why is it so? The color could be blue because, see, it is also dependent on the position of where your styling is being placed in your HTML file. So after this style, you are applying the external CSS. So the like most recent styling which is given in your HTML file will be applied. The most recent styling will be applied. So for this p tag, the most recent styling is style, the inline CSS. For this p tag, the most recent styling is external CSS. But for this, if you remove this, if you comment out this, for this p tag, the most recent styling is internal CSS. So in that way, it would work. So this is all about inline, internal, and external CSS. We the time is completed. So in today's class, I discussed about the first 20 minutes. We discussed about Visual Studio Code and how to generate a boilerplate for HTML. The next thing we learned about CSS. We learned about types of CSS. We learned about how to write rules. We learned about we learned about inline CSS, external, internal, their priorities, their scope, and all, and some simple examples also.